This is Jason Collington with the Tulsa World. I'm here with Bill Haisten, our sports columnist, and he's got one of the most popular stories on TulsaWorld.com. Readers are really interested in what the headline says is high school free agency. Bill, you talk about a quarterback that's heading toward Broken Arrow. Tell me
Yeah.
what the landscape looks like in high school free agency at this moment.
Well, it's just starting to pop. It's really feels like it's going to roll in a really meaningful way earlier this year than in previous years. I don't know about ultimately the volume by the time we get to May, what it will look like, but I think there's more early movement because it's a lot like college recruiting. It's certainly the old template of college recruiting, where you want to get your spot
Right.
so somebody else doesn't get your spot. Uh, but yes, BA Broken Arrow confirmed to us yesterday that a quarterback from Edmond Santa Fe, Cason Delgado, who was at Union as a ninth grader 2 years ago, was at Santa Fe last year. Now he has moved and enrolled at Broken Arrow, right? So there's an addition to the quarterback roster at Broken Arrow. They already had a veteran guy coming back, a senior, a pretty good player. So that obviously strengthens Broken Arrow there for new coach Travis Hill. I think as we speak, I mean, based on what I hear, Jason, man, I think BA is going to be a really hot spot for player movement. And it's still an adjustment for me to talk about high school player movement in this
Right.
context because it's almost feels tacky, like we're, I don't know, but it is what it is. If
Well,
you,
and people have to understand, you've covered the NFL, you've covered college. I
right.
mean, we've got college free agency now, basically, and now we've got high school free agency. So used to, you guys would be working on basketball right now and
Mhm.
focused on that. But the new rules, the new world we live in,
Yeah.
is you've got free agency in not only the NFL, but now college and high school.
Yeah.
And it looks like not only do people want to read about it, but they want to know what their team looks like next year. When you've got the ability and the rules now allow you, you can remake a whole roster just like Deion
Sure.
Sanders did in Colorado.
Well, I mean, I'm never going to be someone who like judges families for doing this or condemns families for doing this because I did it with my son for a variety of reasons, social, academic, athletics, all of it. I did it a few years ago. And so I understand when these moves are made. I kind of question or I kind of wonder about the value of an experience for a kid, Jason, when you're talking about 3 years, three schools in 4 years kind of a situation. Or Owasso had a quarterback 2 years ago who was at four different schools in 4 years. And
Oh, wow.
what's your takeaway, your experience when you go to, I mean, what class reunion do you go to, right?
Exactly.
And if you do you know any of them really?
Right.
So,
Right.
but athletics is very important, and these athletes, football kids are striving for the same thing, for opportunities at the next level, and
And
those.
that could be a multi-million dollar, and for some of them, tens of thousands of dollars of
Mhm.
opportunity. If you get the right time, playing time in high school, that can convert into money in college in your pocket.
Absolutely. Right, right. And if you play at one of these elite high schools around here, if you're good enough to play at a Jinx Union, Bixby, et cetera, a lot of eyeballs are going to be on you. And even if you go in as more or less kind of a role player, you can parlay that into an opportunity at the next level because college coaches are going to see you every week. And
Yep.
if not in person, certainly on video, right? So no, these are really important years. You don't get redshirt years at the high school level. You don't get second chances. You don't get an injury hardship. You just get what you get. There's that very specific window of opportunity, and so I think that we will see. Well, we're already seeing it, but I think we're going to see a lot more early movement in the semester than we saw in 22, 23, 24, and some really high profile names. Of course, you don't want to speculate by name.
Right.
Maybe when I see you in the office, I'll share a few with you. But yeah, there's going to be some really impactful, really well-known guys who change schools in the next 6 weeks, I would say. And I would even offer this little tease that even by the end of next week, an extremely impactful player. Uh, don't be surprised if by the end of next week on TulsaWorld.com, there's a headline that makes people say, "Oh, wow." So, and then that will be a domino that causes a ripple effect, quite a ripple effect, I would
Yeah.
think. So, no, it's a
Well,
very real thing. And as long as families abide by the rules, I mean, you have to in these schools, they can't afford to be getting, popped or sanctioned,
right.
right? So everybody's got to do it by the letter of the law. And by that, it means you've got to establish an address in these districts. You've got to move there. You got to provide proof of enroll and go, and then you've made your change. But that's happening more and more and more and more, and we're going to see it in a heavy way over the next 6 weeks, 2 months.
Well, we've got Bill Haisten and Barry Lewis, who cover high schools like no one else, covering not only high school free agency but all other things that are happening in this off season. It's really not an off season anymore. So
No.
look at okprepsextra.com, our home for high school sports. That's where all of Bill's and Barry's content is every day. Bill, thank you for joining me. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, thank you, Jason.